The main role of the oil filter is to purify the oil passing through the engine from any dirt or impurities, so that it always remains clean and can lubricate the internal components efficiently. As the oil moves inside the engine, it passes over the filter, which is usually made of paper or cotton. The filter catches the impurities inside, and this is very important to prevent corrosion or damage to engine parts. However, if the filter becomes clogged due to the accumulation of sediments, this affects the flow of oil and causes major problems, such as low oil pressure and the appearance of the warning light. In bad cases, it can lead to engine damage. Therefore, changing the oil filter regularly with each oil change is an essential step in any maintenance schedule. It helps the engine continue to operate efficiently and for a longer life. The filter in most cars is cylindrical, made of light metal, and has an internal filter, as we mentioned. In today's episode, we will talk about the most important signs that indicate that your oil filter needs to be changed. We will also learn what can happen if you neglect it. Follow along with us to keep your car engine in the best condition. When do I need to change the oil filter? The issue differs from one car to another, but most car companies recommend changing the oil siphon approximately every 5,000 kilometers. And this is usually with every time you change the engine oil. However, it is more important to refer to your car's owner's manual because you will find precise recommendations for each model. You may find longer or shorter intervals depending on the type of oil used. Your driving style also has a significant impact. For example, if you drive a lot in the city, short trips, or stop the car a lot while it is running, meaning at idle, this requires a faster filter change. Or if you drive on mountainous roads, in extreme heat, or towing a trailer behind the car, this also makes the oil contaminated faster, and therefore you will need to change the filter regularly. In short, harsh conditions equals faster filter change. But in any case, don't wait for a problem to occur and always check the oil and filter on time. What is meant by harsh car use conditions are certain conditions that cause the engine and components to operate under greater stress than usual, such as when you frequently drive short distances, from 8 kilometers in normal weather or less than 16 kilometers in freezing temperatures, or when driving on unpaved roads such as rough roads or roads with dust, mud, gravel, or high salt content. Also, towing trailers is considered a heavy-duty use. In addition to driving in places with a lot of dust or areas with caustic materials such as salt or in very cold weather. These cases also include if you use the car as a patrol car, taxi, or for any commercial purpose, or if you frequently drive in traffic areas, on uphill and downhill roads, or on mountainous roads. Also, if you drive at high speeds exceeding 170 kilometers per hour or conversely at low speeds for long distances. All of this affects the car's performance and makes it fall under the category of heavy use. In the end, the goal of changing the oil filter is to replace it before it gets clogged or excessively dirty. Because if this happens, it may cause damage to the engine. Therefore, when you change it with a new and clean filter, you ensure that the oil reaches all parts of the engine properly. This makes the engine run efficiently and lasts longer. So, what are the signs of a damaged oil filter? It's always best to change your oil filter every time you change your engine oil. However, sometimes you may notice some signs in your car that are a clear indication that the filter needs to be replaced, even if it hasn't been replaced yet. Here are the top 5 signs that indicate a clogged or damaged oil filter. 1. Engine overheating. Just like the air or gasoline filter, the oil filter can also become clogged if used for a long time without changing it. When the filter becomes clogged, it prevents the oil from returning and circulating normally inside the engine. This means that the engine components won't be properly lubricated. In the absence of lubrication, friction between the metal parts quickly generates heat. If there's no oil to cool this heat, the engine temperature will begin to rise significantly. At that point, you may notice the check engine light illuminate on the dashboard, a warning you should take seriously. 2. Poor engine performance. When the oil filter starts to clog, there won't be enough oil flow to the engine, which will affect the car's acceleration. You'll also notice that the car's torque is lower than before, and it no longer feels as though it's suffocating or unable to unleash its natural power. Even if the engine starts, its performance won't be as good as you're used to. Of course, if you continue driving in this condition, the damage could reach the engine's internal components, costing you a significant amount of money for repairs. 3. Blue smoke coming from the muffler. If you notice gray or blue smoke coming from the muffler, this is a clear indication of an engine oil combustion problem. Sometimes the cause is a clogged oil filter, which causes excessive oil pressure and leads to the exhaust system being burned. This is what produces the abnormal smoke. In this case, you must act quickly before the problem escalates and causes further engine damage. 4. The oil light comes on. Some cars have a gauge on the dashboard that displays the engine oil pressure. When everything is fine, the reading will be stable and there's no significant change. However, if you notice a sudden drop in oil pressure while driving, you likely have a problem with the oil pressure system. One common cause of this is a clogged oil filter, which prevents the oil from flowing properly to the engine. That's why it's crucial to address this problem quickly before it causes further damage to the engine. 5. Knocking or clacking noises inside the engine. When the engine doesn't receive enough oil, friction increases between its internal components. This friction not only raises engine temperature, but also causes the components to make knocking or clacking noises due to insufficient lubrication. Generally, these sounds are noticeable and easy to hear while driving. If you notice them, you should stop and check the condition of the oil and filter to protect the engine from further damage. Okay, what are the harms of a commercial oil filter? Using a commercial or counterfeit oil filter can cause unexpected problems. It can also cause significant damage to your engine, God forbid. Commercial filters are often of poor quality, which means they can cause engine oil leaks or cause oil pressure problems either lower or higher than normal. You must be aware that your engine components are designed to work together in a harmonious and precise manner. Any ill-considered change, such as using a non-original filter or one that doesn't meet factory specifications, increases the chance of unnecessary problems and malfunctions. Therefore, always be careful to use original parts or those recommended by your vehicle's manufacturer. At the end of our episode, we've covered the most important information about the signs of a damaged car oil filter, so you can be aware of them and take the right action if you notice any of them. Thank you for watching and stay tuned for a new episode, God willing.